Whitefield believed that preaching was heralding the Word of God from that kind of heart. Preaching is not conversation. Preaching is not discussion. Preaching is not casual talk about religious things. Preaching is not teaching. Preaching is the heralding of a message permeated by a sense of the greatness and majesty and holiness of God. It can be any topic under the sun. And that topic is taken into the blazing center of the greatness and glory and holiness of God in the Word of God. That was Whitefield's view of preaching. And in the last century, the man who embodied it best was Martin Lloyd-Jones, who served Westminster Chapel for 30 years in London. J.I. Packer, you've read this testimony perhaps, when he was 22 years old, a student said that he heard Lloyd-Jones preach every Sunday night in the year 1948-49, and he said, I had never heard such preaching. Which, by the way, is why today so many people say so many minimizing and foolish things about preaching. They have never heard it. They don't know what it is. They have no basis for judgment as they belittle it and call for alternatives that are more effective. Lloyd-Jones said, it came to me with the force of electric shock, bringing more of a sense of God than any other man he had known. That's what Whitefield meant. And oh, that God would raise up in this room and across this country and the world young preachers who leave their hearers with a spiritual sense of shock at the sense of God. Some sense of the infinite weight of the glory of God. That's my longing, that's my prayer for this conference and for you, that God would raise up thousands of broken-hearted, Bible-saturated preachers who are dominated by a sense of the greatness and the majesty and the holiness of God as He has been decisively revealed in Jesus Christ through the gospel of Christ crucified, risen, and reigning today over all nations, all armies, all cancer cells, and all politics, and all churches, and all false religions. That there would be a gripping of pastors today of the amazing weight of the absolute claims of the lordship of Christ over the nations and over everybody in your city. They will bow or they will burn. There is no doubt about it. Jesus Christ lays absolute claim on planet Earth. Everybody in your city must bow their knee. That must grip pastors. God did not ordain the cross of Christ or create the lake of fire in order to communicate the insignificance of belittling His glory. The death of the Son of God and the damnation of unrepentant human beings are the loudest shouts conceivable under heaven that God is infinitely holy, that sin is infinitely offensive, that wrath is infinitely just, and that grace is infinitely precious, and that the brief little life that you and I live and that everybody in our churches lives is going to issue very quickly either in everlasting joy or everlasting pain. This has got to grip us. There is a weight to this office. Where, brothers, is this weight going to be felt if not from you? Veggie Tales? Not in a million years. Radio? Television? Discussion groups? Emergent conversations? If not from you in this pulpit, where?